Available now. Link below.
Tonight, we peel away the veneer of national security to reveal a troubling assault on our most fundamental freedoms. At the heart of this storm stands NSA Jake Sullivan, whose recent proposal to amend the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, strikes at the very core of our constitutional rights. This isn't just about surveillance, it's a direct challenge to the principle of the no warrant, no search, a safeguard of our privacy and liberty since the inception of this great republic. With the DOJ's audacious disregard for the Constitution, we're not just witnessing policy shifts, we're standing on the precipice of a constitutional crisis. This special report uncovers the stark reality of a government emboldened to pry, unchecked, into the lives of its citizens. If you value your freedom, if you cherish the principles upon which this nation was built, you cannot afford to miss what we are about to reveal. Stay with us, as this story affects not just the future of one man or one party, but the very essence of American democracy. Correction, our republic. This is about much more than politics. It's about preserving the bedrock of our freedoms for generations to come. Don't miss the final thought. Hey folks, before we dive deeper into our report tonight, a quick word from our sponsor, crucial to making our daily insights possible. Just as we've uncovered the layers of governmental overreach, it's vital to address personal health, particularly the battle against excess belly fat. Recognized as a significant threat to our well-being, this deep abdominal fat presses against our vital organs, much like how unchecked government surveillance threatens the core of our liberties. That's why we've partnered with a groundbreaking solution that's backed by science to help reduce fat storage, accelerate fat breakdown, and support overall weight management. This incredible product not only aids in curbing cravings and boosting metabolism, but also aligns with our commitment to taking control back into our own hands. For the rest of the month, or until supplies last, they're offering our viewers an exclusive 51% discount. Take the first step toward reclaiming your health at trimwithgary.com. That's trimwithgary.com. Now back to our report. In an era where our constitutional freedoms are increasingly under threat, the recent stance by NSA Jake Sullivan's alongside the DOJ's endorsement to amend the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, without adhering to the warrant process represents a dangerous pivot away from the principles of liberty and privacy. This proposal, under the guise of national security, seeks to circumvent the foundational legal requirement of obtaining a warrant before questioning lawfully collected data. Such a move not only undermines the bedrock of our republic, but also signals a willingness by the current administration to disregard the constitutional protections that safeguard American citizens from government overreach. The implications of this are far-reaching and deeply concerning. By advocating for warrantless searches, Sullivan and the DOJ are not only trampling on the Fourth Amendment, but are also setting a perilous precedent that could lead to unchecked surveillances on American citizens. This is not a hyperbole. It is a clear and present danger to our civil liberties. The very essence of our republic is at stake when those in power believe they can sidestep constitutional mandates for convenience or under the broad and often nebulous justification of national security interests. Take a look.
On FISA, there are a couple of amendments that are being considered. One of them would require a warrant for every query of lawfully collected data. If that were to pass and get into the bill, would the president veto that bill?
So I'm not in a position to stand here today and make veto threats on behalf of the president. Those are decisions for him to make. What I will tell you is that we do not believe that that serves the national security interests of the United States. And in fact, today I will be making that case to a number of members that the warrant requirement as conceived is not the best way actually to ensure the protection of the personal privacy of Americans. There are a number of other elements of the bill that we have supported that would reform and update FISA to protect the civil liberties of Americans. But a warrant requirement from our perspective would go too far in undermining the very purpose of FISA, and frankly, it would put victims at risk.
What makes this proposal even more egregious is the historical context of FISA's abuse, particularly against President Trump and his campaign. The FISA process, originally designed to protect Americans from foreign threats, was manipulated to target political opponents, showcasing a blatant disregard for legal norms and the principle of fairness that is supposed to underpin our judicial system. This misuse of FISA against the Trump campaign was not only a scandalous abuse of power, but also a stark illustration of how such mechanisms can be exploited for political gain. This isn't just about our administration overreach. It's a symptom of a broader issue that threatens the very fabric of our nation. When the government can spy on its citizens without proper judicial oversight, it erodes trust, damages the integrity of our institutions, and places us on a slippery slope towards tyranny. Jack Sullivan's cavalier attitude towards amending FISA, thereby bypassing the warrant requirement, is a testament to a growing trend within the Biden administration to prioritize perceived security over constitutional rights. Critics argue that such actions are not only unconstitutional, but also fundamentally un-American. The requirement for a warrant is not a bureaucratic hurdle. It's a critical check on governmental power, ensuring that any invasion of privacy is justified necessarily and proportionate. Sullivan's proposal, therefore, is not just an attack on privacy, but an assault on our judicial oversight that stands as a bulwark against tyranny. Moreover, this move by Sullivan and the DOJ raises serious questions about the motives behind such drastic changes to surveillance laws. With the 2024 election on the horizon, there is growing concern that the Biden administration, in its desperation to cling to power, is willing to erode civil liberties to silence opposition and maintain control. This is not the action of a government confident in its policies or its standing with the American electorate. It is the behavior of an administration that sees the constitutional rights of its citizens as obstacles to its agenda. The narrative being pushed by Sullivan and others in the administration that these changes are in the interest of national security is not just flawed, it's dangerous. The real threat to national security is a government that believes it can operate above the law, violating the rights of its citizens without consequences. This is not about protecting the nation, it's about protecting the power of those who currently wield it. As we dive deeper into this issue, it becomes increasingly clear that the proposed amendments to FISA are not about enhancing our national security, but about consolidating power and targeting political opponents. The abuse of FISA process against President Trump's campaign was a clear warning, sign of how surveillance powers could be misused. Yet instead of taking steps to ensure such abuses never happen again, Sullivan and the Biden administration appear intent on further eroding safeguards, making it easier to spy on Americans without accountability. This flagrant disregard for the Constitution and the rights of the American citizens cannot be unchallenged. It is imperative that we stand against such overreach and demand transparency, accountability, and adherence to the rule of law. The proposed changes to FISA are not just an issue for those who find themselves in the crosshairs of government surveillance. They are a concern for every American who values their privacy, their freedom, and their right to live without the fear of unwarranted government intrusion. Before our final thought, an important message from our own Gary Franchi.
That's right. As the crescendo of the 2024 election builds, so does the chorus of misinformation. The Silent Coup, my new book, stands as a bulwark against the tide of manipulation and skewed narratives. So this moment demands a vigilant mind. Claim your copy and forge your path with confidence. The link to this vital resource is in the description of this video with a special offer. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Gary. Make sure you tap the link in the description to secure Gary's new book, The Silent Coup. And now for our final thought. In today's discourse, we've peeled back the layers of a proposed shift that strikes at the very heart of our liberties. This isn't merely about surveillance or security, it's about the fundamental rights enshrined in our Constitution. When officials like Jack Sullivan advocate for policies that undermine our Fourth Amendment rights, they don't just challenge legal norms, they challenge the very essence of our republic. This is not a partisan issue, it's an American issue. It's about ensuring our government remains of the people, by the people, for the people. As we stand at the crossroads, let's choose the path of vigilance and protection of our civil liberties. Let this moment be a call to action for every American to stand firm in defense of our constitutional rights. Because if we fail to protect our freedoms, who will? Thank you for watching. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe and tell a friend.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.